Hi, welcome back to Mediocre Arts and Crafts. Today I'm going to take you through how I created this super fun mini album that uses Brutus Monroe jumbo mixed media tags for the base and the accordion gusset system for the hinges. And so I will take you through that if you're not familiar with it. This book also features the Summer Bliss paper pack from Echo Park. I was super excited when I saw that Maymay got this collection in the store. It is really cute and one that I've used before that I really like. And so I will take you through the process and also go and glue down this thing because it keeps popping up. Okay, today our project uses the Summer Bliss collection from Echo Park and these Brutus Monroe jumbo media tags. These are tags that are 8.5 by 4. If you don't have tags, use some heavyweight cardstock and cut it down and, to just kind of the shape. The first thing that you need to do is you need to set aside your sticker sheet and the cut-aparts and keep those for later for when we're ready to embellish. Along with our jumbo media tags, we are going to need one 3 by 7.5 piece of cardstock that is cut from the paper collection. We will need one piece of white cardstock that is cut into a rectangle that's 6 3/4 by 7. Here we have 20 of pieces of cardstock that are going to cover our pages, and they are 3 3/4 inches by 7 3/4 inches. So what's important here is that if you have two favorites, one you want to use for the front cover and for the back cover, set those aside before you start gluing them in, just so you have your favorite in the front. As you're cutting down these strips of cardstock that are 7 3/4 by 3 3/4, you will end up with some scraps like this. Put those in a pile and set them aside. We're going to go ahead and cut those down and use those for our waterfall page. Okay, next we want to take the piece of cardstock that is 6 3/4 by 7 inches, put it in our scoreboard so that is 6 3/4 east to west and 7 inches north to south. We are going to score at every 1/4 inch. So before we worry about gluing, we're just going to take some time and fold and burnish at all of our score lines. Okay, now that we have our 6 3/4 by 7-inch piece of cardstock scored at every 1/4 inch, we are going to go ahead and fold and burnish, and then we're going to create our gusset. Now this is a hinge gusset system, I guess that is. You can find it all over YouTube. I learned it from YouTube. And basically what you're going to do is you are going to have one piece of flat cardstock, and then you're going to glue 2 pieces together to make a point. And I'll take you through that, but what it's going to look like is something like this when you're done. So I have 2 of the scored pieces here that are glued together, and then it goes all the way across like that. So each one of these pieces that is sticking up is really 2 of the score sections that are glued together, and you can watch me do that now. So you score our lines and fold them. We're going to take these 2 pieces, these 2 sections that say glue those together. This remains flat. And then we're going to take the next 2 sections that say glue. We're going to glue those together. And so on. And so once we glue these 2 sections together, you'll have 2 book hinges. And so what we're doing is going to be a little more tedious because the scores are obviously a lot smaller. So take your time, use your score lines to your advantage, and you should end up with, let's see, you will end up with a hinge that will hold the front cover. So this one isn't glued. This one is just the first score mark. Then you'll have your flat section, and you will, on this, end up with 8 of these little mountain valleys that are hinges, and then 2 end pieces that are sticking up, one for the front cover and one for the back cover, and then we'll be ready to glue in our tags. Okay, now you'll notice that as I was scoring these, I wasn't paying attention to the way they were going to end up. I just needed them to move well so that as I kind of fold them up, they're easy to adhere. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my page. I'm going to start with one score section that goes up. I guess that's up. And then one will be flat like this. And then these 2 will be glued together. And then this one will be flat, and these 2 will be glued together. And you do that all the way across until you have your 8 glued hinges and your 2 that are on the side. Okay, this first section is going to be pointed up. The second section is going to be flat, and the third and fourth section are going to be glued together on the back. Now we have the piece that supports our front cover and the piece that supports our first page ready to go. So this next section is going to be flat and the next two are going to be glued together. So as you work your way through this, you'll notice that the back doesn't look awesome. And once in a while, one of the tabs is just a little taller than the others, but that won't really matter very much. This will end up the spine, which we are going to cover up with designer paper, and this will be the inside, so you're only going to see in between and the bottom of the gusset. So this is the first time that I'm using a Barely Art Precision Craft glue for a full project. I actually just broke open this bottle earlier today to try it for the first time. So far I like it. It is a little thinner than the glue I normally use, which isn't necessarily bad. It does allow for this fine nozzle attachment that came with it to put a really fine bead of glue, and it does adhere pretty quickly, so far so good. So there we have it. We have our front flap for the front page. We have one for the back page. And then we have 8 sections that are glued together that will be our the pages that go throughout the middle of the book. So I'm going to grab my tags and start gluing them in. So I went ahead and glued these first 3 tags in, also because I forgot to turn the camera on, so that's great. But pretty simple. I just put a bead of glue along the side here and made sure when I glued my tag in that it matches up with the other tags across the bottom. So here I have one. You can see there's the flat piece, and then those 2 pieces that were glued together are sticking up. They're our hinge, and that's what I glued the next tab to. Same for this one, or the next tag to. And so I'll go ahead and glue the rest. Okay, here we have the base of our tag album. Now what we are going to do is grab the cardstock that we cut earlier. This is the spine piece that we cut. We didn't score this one yet because just depending on how you score and how your glue goes down, there may be a discrepancy in size of the width of your book. So you'll just want to measure the width of your book. So it looks like I've got less than 2.5 inches here. So maybe 2 1/4, 2 3/8. And so I'm just going to go ahead and put a front score here because I do want this spine piece to cover onto the front and back a little bit. So I'm going to make a score line here, and then I'll probably glue it on and then just fold it up over the back. And then we're going to put our pages on. score this spine at about 1/2 inch maybe. Okay. And score it at 1/2 inch. Make a decent fold. The first thing I'm going to do is figure out, I'm just going to glue it, watching the bottom across here and gluing this up on the front and kind of jamming the side of this front tag into the score line there, so I make sure that it is going to be kind of straight. Now this, I might want a little more glue. Actually, this fold is going to be underneath another piece of paper, so I think it's going to be okay. So for our pages, we are going to go ahead and trim them a little bit, and then we are going to punch a hole where the tag would go. I don't have any of these reinforcers that are in like a matte color or in a color that matches this. I only have like silver ones. So I am simply going to poke holes. You can, at this point, do some eyelets if you want to, or even attach this through the hole with a brad. That would be cute. I am going to put some twine or ribbon through some of the pages, probably not all of the pages. So just kind of think on what your options are here and, you know, decorate accordingly. I do see the flaw in my design here. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and cut the tabs off of here, and I'm just going to eyeball them. So I'm going to take one tag, cut in a little bit here, probably cut in a little bit here. You see where I'm going? This is going to take me all night, and I'm going to have no paper left after I stop cutting. Well, I think that's good. Somebody measures, that's a problem, but yep, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to grab my hole punch. Okay, so I grabbed my hole punch, and you can see the flaw in my design here is that I cut these so that they would have a border around them, but then when I put this this piece of cardstock on, I put it around the front, and it might have been just great to do that if I would have made it a little shorter, but really I'm gonna add this on top and it is gonna be embellished and it shouldn't be an issue. So what I'm going to do now is kind of hold it where I want it to be, not glued down yet. I'm going to go ahead and punch this one. There we go. And then I'm going to use this as like a template. So I'm going to go through and cut and punch all of the rest of these. And I'll be right back. So for this album, I did something that I never really do. And I took the sheet that I knew would be the front cover, and I went ahead and decorated it prior to adhering it to the front of the book. And it did make it a little bit easier, I think. And as long as, you know, there's not a reason for it to need to be adhered, then I think that I might try to do that again in the future. But I just took some of the stickers and I adhered them to the cover, one of the frames, and some of the ice cream, popsicles, and a little drink with an umbrella. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this on before we start putting in our waterfall pages. So, and probably some pockets.
So we have our waterfall sheets that are 4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. We want to put them in the scoreboard at 4 inches west to east and score at 1/2 inch. Fold and burnish, and that creates the hinge for your waterfall page. I have 14 of these sheets, so I'm going to do one waterfall that is 5 of these, and then 2 that are 5, sorry, and then one that has 4 of these sheets. I'm going to go ahead and score the rest and fold and burnish, and we'll be ready to glue them in.
Yep. So, we'll put 5 on this one. Gonna kind of break up the color here, so probably do it like that. Nope. Not thinking. Okay. Attempting to line it up against the tag or the cardstock here. So I wanted a couple of pockets in here, so I am going to use these two pieces. This is another remnant from when we cut our pages. This is one of the journaling cards, so I just cut that down a little bit. And I'm going to make pockets out of these by just simply putting glue on across the bottom and across one side. And then these cards, cut apart cards, I think will go into the pockets. And then I have this one, which I kind of like from the cut aparts, and I think I'm just gonna find a page and glue that one down. Once I'm done with these, I'll go ahead and grab some twine and some ribbon, and we will add our tadpoles, which we really won't pull because it's all glued together. Okay, before we put the final embellishments in our book, I am going to create some pulls from some ribbon, and this is Doodlebug Baker's Twine. So you're going to need about 4 inches or so of this. And you can, of course, do this with one or the other. I'm just using both today. And the first thing you're going to do is run one side of the twine, one end of the twine through, even it up, and tie it. And you kind of want it to be even, and one piece on the right and one piece on the left. Then we're going to take our ribbon, and this is about 6 inches of ribbon. Oh, this is 8 inches of ribbon at least. But we may need to cut it down to fix the tails. And I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half and take the folded part, so the little loop part, and put it through here. If you have a ribbon tool or a threader, a flosser, you can use that. Just kind of shoving it through with my cutter bees here. And so now I've got a big old bundle of stuff. I'm just going to kind of take the twine, retighten it, and move it out of the way. And now I have the loop at the top and the 2 ends of my ribbon. I want to make sure that I have one piece of twine on the right side and one piece of twine on the left side. And I'm just going to go ahead and hook these through or into the loop and give it a pull. Now you may want to do this the other way, where you bring the loop up from the back. I think that's really just like most things in craft, that's preference. And then I'm going to go ahead and open the page, take my 2 sides, and I'm just going to tie them. And so on this first page you might not really see them that well. Let's see, just tie it in a double knot. And so you can't see the twine from the front here for this one, unless you kind of fluff it a little bit. But it's just to add something different, a little interest, a little more texture, and you'll really notice it once all the pages are done and you're flipping through the pages. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these done, and I'll be back. Okay, I went through with my the sticker sheet, the remaining stickers, and I just put a few throughout the book. This one I think is popping up a little bit. I'm going to have to put a little glue underneath it, but I liked this Say Hello to Summer sticker for the spine. And then let's just go ahead and flip through it And you can see what else I did. So here's the cover with the stickers. And let's see. Here is the first pocket. I went ahead and put this cut apart in the pocket so that people would know that it's a pocket and not just a split, design piece of paper. And you could fit a few things in here. The gusset is pretty wide, but you are kind of limited because I didn't create a gusset for the pocket. I just glued it on this side and adhered it down. So then I put some more stickers on this sheet. This says Fun Days of Summer. I did a waterfall on this page. Now this page turned out a little more even than the other waterfalls that I did, but I think they all still look good. And a couple more stickers, some plain pages. This one is one of the cut aparts that I cut down and I just adhered it flat to this page. And of course someone who wants to put a photo could just put a photo right on top. Here is another waterfall page that's a little crooked, but it still looks all right. And let's see, this one has 5 pages as well, or 5 flaps. Some more stickers, seahorse. This one says Flip Flops, Watermelon, Summer Sun, Ice Cream. And this is one of the cut aparts that I cut down and used as a pocket, and I just glued it on this side along the bottom as well. And the last page has the 4-page waterfall, which is super wonky, but I'm not going to worry about it. And then the back. This I think is my favorite designer sheet out of this pack. If you learned something new from this tutorial or just thought the paper was cute or want to be nice to me, go ahead and please subscribe to my channel where I'll do more paper crafts. I have a quilling project coming up. It is going to be simple, based on, the simplest quilling roll that you can do. And that'll be coming up in the next few weeks. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.